Another episode of Just Like Us. I am solo writing tonight, but not writing dirty. Okay, maybe just a little bit. Anyway, I am so excited that you're here with me tonight. Justin is in Michigan with his three children. His youngest daughter, Julia, just graduated high school today. So, congratulations, Julia. Super proud of you. And uh, she has a track meet tomorrow, so I want to wish her the best. And it is also going to be her birthday on the 31st, I believe. I hope I got that right, Julia. I'm a little bit nervous tonight. Usually I set everything up, and Justin comes in, and he introduces us, and we do our thing, right? And tonight's episode is called "Crush the Fear, Not the People," right? Um, to me, that just means, I'm in competition really with myself. It's about being a better version of myself every day. How can I push myself to do, the things that I'm afraid to do, no matter what it is, right? And sometimes just getting out of bed is crushing it for me, right? Other days I get a lot done, and I'm going and going and going, and I don't tire, right? I don't get tired or I don't get tired easily. Wow, guys. I mean, I even have notes. I got my clipboard here, with notes. Um, that's just how I have to do it. So just bear with me, you know. What I'm hoping that you're going to get out of tonight's episode, Crush the Fear and Not the People, is I want you to have a reset, a new way of looking at success, business, purpose, and community. Whether you're a small business owner, a parent, a creative, or someone who's just trying to keep going, this conversation is for you. You can expect honesty and truth, and I hope by the end of it, you walk away with less fear, more hope, a bigger vision, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. So let's get right into it, right? Fear. Fear is a liar, but it's also a teacher. And there's a quote by Joseph Campbell. I don't know who Joseph Campbell is, but I liked the quote. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek, right? What you fear is what you have to go into. And in going inside, for me, I was afraid. I was afraid of what I was going to find when I went inside and looked at, you know, the identities that I hid behind, the masks that I hid behind, the fear that I hid behind. What was I going to find when I entered the cave of my own heart, of my own mind? It was really scary. I want to talk about fear for a minute, not in some abstract way, but in a real life, I'm scared that I'm going to fail kind of way. I used to be paralyzed by fear, not just of failure, but also of succeeding in what other people were going to think about me, being who I was. And I always played small, always played small. I was afraid to shine my light and be this bright beacon of hope for people. But I'm here today because I am that. And so are all of you, right? We can crush our fear. We don't have to crush other people. I'm not inferior, nor am I superior to anybody. But do we all struggle with that? Sure. There are times that I feel inferior, and sometimes that I feel superior. And then that's still another opportunity, right, for me to go inside and crush the fear. Why am I feeling inferior? Why am I feeling superior? What is going on inside of me that I'm feeling like I need to crush somebody else so I can feel better about myself? To me, we've said it on the show before, right? Relationships are the new currency, but so is collaborations. Collaborations is the new currency, and it always has been. We don't have to crush anybody to be the best. We can, to me, good leaders bring out the best in other people by uplifting them, by seeing the best in them, right? They challenge us to be the best at what we do, the best at being us. To me, that's what a good leader does. And for me, when you win, I win. When I win, you win. For me, that is so, it's really important. Um, I had a fear of public speaking. I just had a fear of people in general, right? But I feel like I'm out here crushing it in my own life. I'm doing things that make me uncomfortable. I'm on this episode by myself without, our other fearless leader, Justin Bird, right? Sometimes we get comfortable and think that we get comfortable having that other person there to kind of, you know, soften the blow, or we need someone else to feel great. You can feel great all by yourself, right? Because you are great, you are worthy, and you are wonderful. And I'm just so glad that you're here with me tonight. There's nobody on here. I don't see any viewers on here, and that's okay, because I'm doing it for an audience of two. It's me and God, and whoever else, comes on to join us this beautiful Friday evening here in Reno, Nevada. It has just been beautiful weather. I don't know what it's like where you're at, but here it has been so beautiful. I've been going out um, pretty much daily and just going and sitting by the Truckee River and just listening to the trees and the sound of the river rushing by, and just enjoying my own presence, my own company, right? For me, that's crushing it. That's getting past my fear. I think I even went live on TikTok with somebody sitting not too far from me, which before would have, I would have had fear, and I would have been looking around like, oh my gosh, what are they going to think, right? But like we talk on here, we all have a story to tell. We all want to crush it. Like a little competition, a little friendly competition is good. It's good for you because it pushes you to be better than you were the day before. And for me, that's a win. And I hope that it's a win for you. Um, Blowing out someone's candle doesn't make your shine any brighter. We're all here trying to get through this thing, called life, and doing it um, afraid, doing it, some of us with courage. It takes courage to, look inside of yourself and decide that there's things that that you want to change. And the only competition I want to beat is me. And I think that collaborating with other people is another way that we can crush it together, and that sort of creates a ripple effect, right? What we say and what we do is really important. It's important for the legacy that we want to leave when we're not here anymore, right? And I want to leave a legacy of love and collaboration. For me, it takes a village to raise um, me, right? I've tried to do this solo and on my own um, for so many years, and it left me empty. It left me broken and hurting. And for me, crushing it is waking up every day, showing up for myself, showing up for others, letting my light shine without saying, hey, my light is shining. I like to just be an example and let my life and what I do and what I say speak for itself. And if it's something that you that resonates with you, let me know, and we can collab together. I can help you help yourself, and that will help me. and we can all win. There's enough there's enough wins for everybody to have. This isn't we're not lacking anything. We're taught to go out and get yours and think only about yourself. I'm a very considerate person. I have been my whole life. But I also did things out of fear. I was afraid to be the best, or I didn't want to show anybody up, right? But instead, I didn't even show up for myself. And so, I want to encourage you tonight to not be afraid, to crush that fear. Whose voice is telling you that you're not going to make it? Whose voice is telling you that you're not great? Because you are great. And it starts with believing in yourself and identifying, right, whose voice is talking to you. And I think that spirituality, right, I believe that for me, God plays a big part in that. It's getting quiet and letting him nurture the greatness that he put inside of me, not by crushing you, right, but by crushing the fear that's been driving me my whole life, and removing the masks that have kept me, playing small. Wow, this was a little bit harder, right? And you're saying it live, and I'm not embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed to come on here and not have it all together. You know, uh, to me, that's crushing it in life too, is not being afraid to fail. I mean, really, who's watching? There's nobody on here. So I'm just getting practice, right, at getting more comfortable with being on camera by myself. Usually, like I said, I have Justin, so he's kind of like my little crutch, right? If I have a misstep, or I don't have my thoughts gathered together, I have him to lean on. And tonight he's not here, and and he's not usually, he's working during the day. So I'm usually with myself a lot, or with, other people in my recovery community. And I got my notes here too. Wow. I just want to take a breath. I don't know who's on here tonight, and if you can hear me. Hopefully you can even hear me. You can let me know in the chat if you can hear me. That would be wonderful. I mean, I do talk to myself a lot, just rehearsing things that I want to say, or that I want to do, and it usually doesn't go the way that I plan it in my head, right? I had this great, outline that I wanted to follow tonight, but I'm just on here. And I'm a little nervous. I'm not super nervous, but I'm a little bit nervous. I mean, I'm just hoping, if you guys have any questions for me, I'm here. I feel like I am not crushing it tonight, not like I normally would, but that's okay. I'm still here, and I'm still showing up, and I still love myself. I love my life. I love what I'm building, right? I'm building this podcast, right, so that I can be a voice in the wilderness for people who are dealing with fear, in their own lives. And maybe you're dealing with insecurity. Maybe you're dealing with feeling like you're not good enough. Maybe you're working on, getting yourself off of substances. Or maybe it's, men. Maybe it's shopping or gambling or a behavior that you're trying to change. And that can be scary. And you may feel like it's crushing you, right? Instead of you crushing it. But I want to tell you that there is hope, that you do have what it takes inside of you to be your own hero. It's about aligning with yourself, not what society tells you you need to align with, or what you think other people want you to align with, but what really aligns with your heart. What does crushing it mean for you? Right? So for me, it's choosing to wake up every day. It's choosing to align myself with whatever purpose God has for me that day. Maybe it's, making my bed, which I do pretty much every day. That right off the bat, I've already, done something good for myself. The next stop for me is grabbing a cup of coffee, and it's, having a conversation with God and taking some time out to just meditate and be quiet and read a few, a few quotes or a few things out of, I read like 4 or 5 different books, some from my recovery community, some that, just get me closer to God, that help me just set the atmosphere, set the atmosphere for my day. And I think that's one of the most important things, right? Is setting your intention for the day. What behaviors do you want to exhibit? What things do you want to say? How do you want that day to go? But also being open, right? And flexible, because we all know we can make plans, but oftentimes life has a different way of showing up. And it's not to derail us, but it's to teach us, right? If we ask, we leave the results up to a loving God who wants only the best for us, who wants to see us win. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have this rebirth, this spiritual experience, this spiritual awakening that I experienced in the closet. It was back in 2022. I was still using substance. And I had a lot of behaviors I didn't like. I had a lot of fears. And, one way to crush it, right, is to see how other people are crushing it, and then, emulate it, but put yourself into that. Make it your own. Crush it for yourself. What does that look like for you? How are they doing it? And how can I do it? Right. And getting through all your facades and all your fears and all your insecurities and all the things you think other people are thinking about yourself, and even what you're thinking about yourself. Right. That's what crushing it means to me. How well am I doing? It's about me taking the focus off of what everyone else is doing. Because let's face it, and you can get on social media and you can feel really lousy, right? You can see, I could do that right now. I could stop this live stream, this live podcast, and feel like, oh my God, I'm doing a terrible job at this, right? There's people who do this way better than I do. And there probably is. But I'm still here. I'm still showing up, and I'm still here with all of you, even afraid, even a little bit discombobulated, and that's okay. I'm not afraid to show up, and I know that this will resonate with somebody out there, right? Again, if you can hear me on here, let me know in the comments. Type in the chat that you're here, and let me know where you're here from. I I'm just looking here at my notes. I was definitely afraid of making mistakes, and I didn't want anybody to see me making any mistakes. I was so hard on myself when I would make a mistake. Instead of seeing it as a learning experience, I would be really, really hard on myself, which didn't make me feel like I was crushing anything. It just made me feel like I was hiding. And that's not something that I want to do today. And that's why I'm on here tonight, right? Is because I want to show up for you too. I want to show you, I want to give you permission to shine bright, right? And know that you can crush it in your own life, and you can crush that fear. You can talk to that fear. You can remove it. You can, ask. You can ask God. He's listening. He's the one who came in and started giving me ideas about how I could crush it, how I could squash that fear, right? And I started to look at podcasts. I'd pick a behavior that I wanted to work on, and that meant I had to shut out what everybody else was doing, and that included Justin, what Justin was doing and wasn't doing, or anybody else in my life for that matter. I had to get real quiet and real still so that I could hear my own. Thanks, Dee. Love you. Shining bright. I love you. I love you so much. I appreciated you and Jordan coming on here on Wednesday and just sharing your light with us and with the rest of the Just Like Us podcast community that we have on here. For me, crushing it is all about aligning with my purpose. If I'm trying to align with what you're doing, while not focusing on where I'm at mentally, spiritually, and physically, then I'm just copying you. But I'm just doing it, not with purpose. I'm just doing it to copy you. And, I have a bigger vision for myself. I mean, even starting this podcast, this was something that I wrote about in my journal. It was about 4 years ago now. And just being able to be a voice in the darkness for myself and for so many of us, right? We've all been afraid. We've all been crushed, right, by life at some point. There's something that has happened to us that has changed us or left us empty. I was chasing all the things that life said, society said you needed to be successful, but I didn't feel successful inside. It wasn't until I turned inward and I turned to my God, right, that I started to feel worthy and I started to feel success. I started to pull back the layers of all the masks that I had been wearing, right? I wanted people to think highly of me because I didn't think highly of me. Today, that's a different story. Today, I do think highly of myself, and not in an egotistical way, but in a I deserve to be here way, because we all do. We all bring something to the table, right? It collaboration, right? Like I said before, it's about bringing not just the best out in yourself, but the best out in the people that you care about, the people in your community. Like I said, that's to me, what a good leader does. Leads by example, right? But also leads you to the best you by uplifting you and encouraging you, not tearing you down, right? We have enough of that out in our world. We don't need that in our own inner world, or crushing other people to get to the top, right? There's room for all of us at the top, and we all bring something unique to this world and to each other. And we don't need to compete. We need to collaborate with each other. Um, you know, me letting you, oh, thank you, Dee. Yes, lead by example. Love it. Right? We're leading somebody whether we know it or not. You're leading yourself. You're leading your kids. You're leading, other people that see you out there. When you don't think anybody is watching, someone's always watching. And I don't say that to, make you fearful, right? But you're watching. You are the watcher of your own life, right? And we have a creative power that lives on the inside of us. I believe that is God. He is the creator of the universe. He is source. He's everything to me. He's the universe. He's spirit. He's divine presence. He is the collaborator of the universe. And I want to collaborate with God, right? To be what he has destined for me to be in this life. And, if that's something that resonates with you, let me know in the comments. I know, Dee, you're just blowing up the chat, and I appreciate you so much. Like I truly, truly am so grateful that we, that we connected. And see yourself through Source's eyes, because he will let you know, right, that you're worthy, that you are exceptional, that you're the apple of his eye, and when you start to have a conversation with God and start to have a relationship with him, your whole vision changes. The way that you start to see yourself and the way that you start to see others changes. It doesn't stay. It doesn't stay the same. It can't. Right? It can't. And that's not a bad thing, right? Change is good. We fear it so much, but it's so necessary if we want to be the best us that we can be. Change is necessary. It's not something to be feared. And like I said, fear can be a wonderful teacher. It can let you know where you need to improve and what you need to do to improve. And by asking your creator what that is, trust and believe he's going to step in and he is going to speak to you if you'll allow it, if you'll just get quiet and drown out the noise, drown out what you see on social media or what you see out there in the world, and be that light that you were created to be. Because it's kind of like, when you shine and you turn towards someone else and you extend that torch, right? You pass it to them, then they shine, and then they can pass it, and on it goes. And before you know it, we're all shining, right? There's no competing with anybody. That's how I see it. It's I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to be here tonight. I really am. I'm grateful to live this life. I'm blessed to live this life. I'm blessed to be able to get up every day, because there were days I was afraid that I wasn't going to. Yes, Dee, the ripple effect, right? What we think about ourselves affects other people too. It's not just the other way around, right? What people think about us, but what we think about ourselves affects how we treat ourselves, but also how we treat other people. And if we're fearful all the time, we're going to do things out of fear, which is only going to create more fear, right? I like to, when I drop little Justin off at school, or when I pick him up, there's usually like, 3 different lanes that you can get out, and it gets very congested and people are in a hurry and want to get out. And I like to just take a breath, right? I like to take a breath. I know some people have to get where they're going, but we're all trying to get out and get to where we're going. And so I like to, let people in, and then I like to see the ripple effect of that, right? If I let that one person in, then I watch the next person let that person in, and then so on and so forth. And then we all get out of there quick versus, if you're in a hurry, they're in a hurry, then everybody's getting upset, and it's just going to take that much longer. But if we work together collectively, right, we can cause a huge ripple effect, not just in our life, but in the lives of those that we love, and in our community, and in our world. Totally, D. We are soul sisters. Like, what we talked about the other night before we even got on camera was so profound. And, we're on the same wavelength. We're building a future for not just ourselves, but for our community, for the greater good, right? Collectively, for our earth, right? We've done a lot of damage because of fear, because of competition and trying to, get to the top, by crushing other people or by taking advantage of people, right? There's plenty to go around, right? The big lie, um, and the big illusion, at least that I've seen, is that we lack. And in the Bible, it says, we don't lack anything. In the Garden of Eden, they had everything that they needed, right? And the serpent, some people call that the ego. Um, some right call it the devil, right? The serpent who came and said, I know you have all of this stuff, but what about that thing right there in the middle? And it got them to have tunnel vision and forget all the good that was around them, right? They had everything that they needed. And we've been chasing that lack ever since. We've been chasing it. But I stopped chasing it because I remembered who I was. I remembered who God said that I am. And He said, I don't withhold any good thing from you. You have everything you need already on the inside of you. If you'll just trust me to bring it out, to give it to you, instead of trying to reach for it and get it for yourself, right? By hurting others, because that's what I was doing. The most of all was hurting myself because I was afraid I wasn't going to get what I needed if, I surrendered to this God that I couldn't see. And there's more than enough. Look, this world has been spinning for millions, billions of years, and we're all still here, right? Generation after generation. And, I can look back even in my own life, the, generations, like, I come from immigrants, right? And I did better than my mom did. My mom did better than her mom did, and I'm watching my kids do better than I did. And that is what it's all about, right? It's that collaboration with your own household first, right? It's the collaboration with yourself and God, and allowing Him to. Sometimes you're the mountain He has to move, right? We talk about, let's move all these mountains, right? And sometimes they're not moving. And I heard this the other day, that sometimes you're the mountain that He has to move, right? And not in a negative way, but get you to move. Take action for yourself, no matter how small or insignificant you think it is. Every action that you take matters. And really, to me, it's those small little actions that, like I said, that nobody else sees. It's not like in the spotlight, everybody can see what you're doing, but it's those small actions that I take every day, um, that lead me to the alignment that I'm seeking, right? To the greater good for myself and for those that I love, and for my community. And I'm so, so grateful. I mean, I can't say it enough. Gratitude, right? We talk about it all the time. Gratitude for what you have. If you're grateful for what you have, more will come to you. When you're grateful for what you already have, you're then not reaching, for things because you're lacking them. You're reaching, you don't even have to reach. It just comes naturally. I'm watching it happen. I'm watching it unfold in my own life, right? I take action for me, not out of lack, but out of action, right? Out of obedience to what God is saying to me. And when I take that action and then I step back and I let God do the rest, beautiful, amazing things happen in my mind, in my heart, in my spirit. Yes, D, gratitude snowballs for sure. I think it is, it's the way to get more, is just by being grateful for what you have. You don't have to go chase it, right? You attract it. It starts to come towards you more. I mean, gratitude has its own light, right? And light attracts light, you know. And it's just, this life is such an amazing adventure, especially now that I've let go and I've let God, right? I tried to be in charge before. I always believed in God. I always knew that there was a power greater than myself. I remember as a little girl. And that's, what I've done. I reverse engineered my life. I went back to my earliest memories. What was I like as a little girl? And started to live my life that way. And I've had a little and I've had a lot, right? But what the peace that I have in my heart, the peace that I have in my mind, the peace that I have with the world around me, no money can buy that. Nothing. There's no riches that could give me that. Um, and if and of course, we want to leave a legacy for our children, right? This is why I started this podcast, so that I could teach them that they don't have to be afraid. They can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want, and they can do it afraid, right? They're going to have um, this these episodes that Justin and I have created. Someday, my kids will see it. I know they don't get on Facebook very much. They're on the other two platforms, but one day, other generations will get on here, much like music, right? Um, from artists who've already passed on, right? There's new generations who get to experience their music. They've left a legacy of music for us to groove and move to, and feel their words and feel the legacy that they were leaving us with those words, right? And their rhythm. And it's no different for us. That's why, I know Deandra and Jordan, that's why they started their business, Indelible Impressions. And because they want to leave a legacy, they want to create generational wealth, not just in finances, but in mindset, in love, in letting our kids know, right, that magic does exist, and it starts with you. You are the magic. You're the magic that you've been waiting for your whole life, right? That is the beautiful part of this, is you have that magic that lives inside of you already. It's always been there, right? Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz had it right. It's always been there. That's what God has been trying to tell us the whole time. You already have everything you need. It's already here. It's inside of you. If you will just release it, right? You're going to give other people permission to release their magic. And I love, what you said on Wednesday, Dee, that about us being our own heroes, right? Because we have that power that lives inside of us, right? My confidence comes from that power that lives inside of me. It comes from God, and knowing that He's got my back, and He's had my back my whole entire life. I can look back and see, where God was protecting me, from from my own demise, from my own way of thinking, from the things that I thought I wanted by not getting them, right? He was preparing me for such a time as this. And I'm seeing, out in our world today that people just they want to connect, right? That we were made for connection, not for, not for being a shark out here and trying to just gobble everything up, for ourselves. To me, that speaks of lack. But, I can't say it enough, right? There is room enough for all of us to grow individually and collectively. We want to bring heaven to this earth because I lived hell while I was here, you know. Um, whether you're a believer or not, right? You benefit. There are spiritual laws, there are universal laws in place, and we all benefit from them. But how are you, can you look in the mirror and live with yourself, with what you're doing today? I love my company. I love to look in the mirror and say, today I am proud of the life that I am building for myself, right? It's never too late. You're never too old, right? If you're still here, then you're not done, right? And you get another chance to reinvent yourself, right? Authentically, unapologetically. You have every resource that you could ever need right on the inside of you. And when you start to see your life that way, the way that it unfolds, it's such a beautiful, magical thing, right? When you break through the illusion of what some call, right, the matrix, this world system, there is just nothing but abundance and beauty. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to have times where, we have trials and tribulations, right? But they're there to bring out more greatness in us. They're there to remind you that you're an overcomer, right? If everything was perfect, we'd have no need for God or for each other, right? But we need each other to bring heaven to this earth. It's not going to just happen by itself. I mean, God could probably do it all if in an instant if he wanted to, but there is a purpose, right? There's a purpose for us being connected and collaborating together, right? Is to bring his peace to the world, by loving ourselves, by loving him, and by allowing ourselves to be that love to other people. Like, we are hungry for that. We are hungry. We don't just want, hey, I got this program. Hey, I got that. You're the blueprint. It lives inside of you. And you can share that blueprint with, with other people, right? Because we all have people that we align with, people that we can collaborate with to bring something for the greater good for everyone else involved, right? And if we started doing that, just imagine like the ripple effect, the clusters of the magic that would start happening, right, all around us if we did that, instead of trying to take or one up somebody else. I don't think we need to do that. I mean, it's working for me by surrendering and by, giving myself, giving what I have away, right? But you can't give somebody something that you don't have. So it's so important to make sure you're aligned, right? That you're aligned with the magic inside of yourself first, so that you can give it to somebody else, who then in turn can give it to themselves, and so on and so forth, right? So I'm getting ready to close this out tonight. So yeah, we can all raise the tide, D. Definitely fill your cup up. Fill your cup up. It's refillable. That's what I love about it, right? It's not just a one-time fill your cup and, it's refillable. And when you are filling your cup up constantly, then you can fill someone else's cup up too. You know, there's plenty to go around, and you've got it inside of you. You have everything that you could ever need. You really, really do. And more will be revealed. More is to come, right? He is the God of more, but he provides that. And so, he is trustworthy. He's trustworthy of our hearts, of our minds, of our talents. And thank you so much, Dee. My one person, that's fine. I wish you would have been on here with me. We could have really, had a great time. I mean, I still had a great time. I'm getting more comfortable at speaking, on here on camera. Like I said, I'm been doing a few lives on TikTok and, just getting more comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with myself, but camera, that's like a whole nother thing for me. But you'll see my progression, right? You'll see me get better and better. And I hope I encourage you to do something that makes you afraid. Get out there and do it anyway. Even if everybody laughs, laugh with them. I mean, laugh with them. It's all good. Um, and so I would like to see some of you out there. Some of you are going to catch this, later tonight. I know it's summertime and people are probably out there at the food trucks, right? Or out at the lake. And there's graduations going on as well. So you'll catch this later on the replay. And I'd like you guys to share your story. Maybe you want to collaborate or build something meaningful with us. We'd love to hear from you. And you can reach out to Justin and myself at justinformingyou.com or by calling us at 775-908-8205. Excuse me. I got a tickle in my throat. I'm going to have to take a drink of water, so 1 sec. Woo. So whether you're a local business or a purpose-driven couple or someone with a story to tell, we welcome you into Just Like Us podcast family. Oh, Jesus. It's still tickling, y'all. It's still tickling. Let's shine together because there's more than enough light to go around. And if this episode resonated with you at all, hit that like button. Engage with us in the comments like our beautiful friend Deandra did tonight. Share this with somebody. Again, you don't have to be perfect to get started. You just have to start, right? And this is, I think, the first time I've done the live podcast by myself without Justin. And, it started off a little rough, but I think I found my footing and I started to get a little bit more comfortable, and I'll just get better and better, just like you will. So thank you all for joining me tonight. I hope you have an amazing, magical, beautiful weekend where you just expect something wonderful to happen for you today and every day. And say that to yourself. Wake up in the morning and say, something wonderful is going to happen for me today. And, don't be afraid to do something that makes you afraid, because it's going to help you grow. It's going to help you become the person that you were meant to be on this earth, right? Everything you went through was for a reason. There was purpose behind it, whether it was self-induced or because of the world that we live in. right? Your story matters, and we want to hear from you. So with that, I'm going to say good night, and I love you, and thank you for joining us.